to here we are. Just came down to the water today, and my son is in Taekwondo, so I get to come down here and go for a walk. And I want to play with this app on YouTube. I'm getting more savvy with YouTube as a place where I can go live and make a transmission. And I want to talk about being the man, because that's the theme of what I do. And it's so simple in coaching as a men's coach, marriage coach for men. Ultimately, I think we're in a time of great forgetting. We're in a time of great forgetting, and we're in a time of a lot of going numb and a lot of distraction. Distraction, forgetting, and going numb might be the three greatest sins of modern time. And ultimately, we need to define things in order to have a working model of how to move. And so let's define what a man is. I remember meeting with a fellow therapist a few years back in a cafe, and she knew that I had been running lots of men's groups. And, you know, she actually paused our conversation for a moment and just asked me point blank, like, what even is a man? And I had to call a pause, because I wasn't prepared to open up that conversation in that moment with her, because we had other business on the table. But these days I'm way more free with it, because ultimately my working model is that you are as a man, you're the most smallest unit of sovereignty. You're the most smallest unit of free will. And this body that you've been given is what is your first gift, and it's what you start with. And in the coaching work, I talk about 4 kingdoms: body, being, balance, and business. And in order to up your game as a man, you need to master all 4 of those kingdoms if that's what you're wanting. If you want to be the man with the ability to have it all, as a father, as a provider, as a protector, as a creator, and step into the abundance of creation. I like to come back to some of the Wake Up Warrior frameworks that I learned from my mentor. And he likes to talk about how there's 3 levels. And the first level is being the man. And at the level of being the man, the purpose is to eradicate scarcity. Because what is man other than the promise of possibility? Either man is a slave and he chooses slavery by being told what to do and what he is and subscribing to those limitations, or he realizes that he is free. I realize that I am free, and I get to make the decision to move into responsibility for that freedom. So that's where eradicating scarcity comes in, because you have a gift. You were given a gift when you were given 2 hands, 2 legs, and a voice and a mind and heart. You got this body that you can do whatever you want with and be free with. So that's the first level, is eradicating scarcity across those 4 domains: body, being, balance, and business. And scarcity will come at you like an attack, and it'll convince you that there's not enough, or that you're not enough, or there's not enough money, there's not enough time, there's not enough connection, not enough sex, not man enough. The not enough monster is one of the core gremlins inside of shame shifting. One of those gremlins is not enough, the not enough gremlin, and the other one is the who do you think you are gremlin, which is also core to being the man. Because ultimately, your identity is the core of any transformation. Is who, not how. Is who do you have to become in order to do the thing that you're here to do. So the second level of the game is being, well, what we could call the king. And when you're in that feeling of being a king, it's when you're in abundance. And it's establishing abundance. It's making it rain. It's planting the garden and harvesting what you planted, or hunting and bringing back what you harvested from the hunt, or building and enjoying the structures that you built and the freedom that comes from those structures. So the second level is about being a builder and a producer. The second level is, what are you here to create? That's the core question of being the king. Because the king in its true form, not the tyrant king, but the true form of the king, is fertility. The king makes it rain and makes everything bloom. It fills the fridge, it fills the gas tank, it fills the bank account, it moves energy. So to me, that's the fertile God of the green man in making the kingdom bloom and blossom, making the rivers flow with milk and honey. That's what the true king is about. It's about taking that aligned action. And there's lots of forces that are preventing men from stepping into that generativity today, that creativity. There's lots of mind control and brainwashing that is designed to keep men small, keep men imprisoned, keep men enslaved by the golden hands of that paycheck, that entrapment in a time matrix. I like to talk about businessmen, and I like to call all my clients businessmen, even if they're employees, because we're all selling something. Even if you're not selling goods and services and you don't think of yourself as a businessman, if you're an employee, you trade your time for money. That's what you're selling. You're selling your time. You're selling your labor, and you've agreed to those terms. You're free to change that agreement. You're free. That's the big celebration, is that never underestimate your power to transform your relationship with anything or anyone. And that means seeing the contracts you're in not as fixed, but as fluid. I was just telling my wife that today when we were looking at some terms in a business deal together. And there were some terms on the deal that looked a little restrictive. And I said to her, no, we don't have to accept those terms. I know how this works. There's no rules. We collide with this term and present our own terms. And there's no one dictating to you that you have to accept the terms you've been given. You get the freedom to imagine and to create. And so if you can imagine something better, something you want, there's no stopping you from framing that up and creating that. So the second level of the game is this king level, being the king. And that's about abundance. And here's the rub. You know, most of us actually bounce between being the man, which is to eradicate scarcity, and being the king, which is establishing abundance. Most of us have this like boom, 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 like a bounce back and forth, or a clawback, where we have feast and famine. I know I've realized how to make money, and then I take my foot off the gas, and then I realize I have to go make money again. How many of you can can relate to that. The movement between scarcity and abundance having this elasticity. So there's like a constraint, and then you snap back into action and you create the movement. That's a certain level of the game. And what I've discovered and what I am in the process of uncovering and unlocking is the third level. And the third level is building the kingdom. And that's the level beyond abundance. The level beyond abundance is the level of prosperity. And prosperity's higher in the hierarchy, if you have vibrations, than just abundance. Because prosperity is about long-term legacy. It's about who are you and what are you ultimately here for? What's the mark you want to leave on the world? And how can you leave that mark in such a way that your legacy lasts beyond you? So prosperity is a rare vibration because there's so many people who surrender to the vibrations of slavery that help that causes you to settle, to settle for good enough. But those levels of prosperity are available to everyone. You're free. That's the great secret hidden in plain sight, is that you are free. You can make the decision any day to let go of your limitations because your limitations are made of lies. One of the biggest parts of the coaching work I do with men is to break down the false and limiting beliefs that they've been carrying around their whole life. And it's a very simple process, and it's mostly their work. I just hold the container for them to do the process of discovery. Another way of saying it is lies. We're all liars. I'm a liar, you're a liar. We're all living inside of lies. And in order to break up with that lies, we have to name them. We have to see what the lies are: the denial, the hiding, what do they call it? The desperation, the life of quiet desperation. So once we identify the lies, then we get to make a different decision. And at the core of this conversation is God, because with God, all things are possible. You were born with a purpose. You were born with gifts, and it's up to you to make the decision to choose those gifts, to unlock those gifts, to give those gifts. And that's the decision of abundance and prosperity. That's ultimately what that is. And it requires work. It requires changing our habits, changing our mindset, and connecting with that divine intelligence that is your purpose. That's why you're here. So that's my question for you. And it's a confronting question. It's, are you living your purpose? Are you doing what you were called to do in your life? And that's the great liberation, is finding a way to break the chains of slavery, finding a way to make a different decision that puts you in command, because there's ultimately two ways to roll. Either you're making decisions from the outside in as a victim to your circumstance, or you're making the decision to live from the inside out, whereas you're taking your vision from your heart and you're saying, I'm gonna fucking make this happen no matter what. I'm gonna find a way. Because without a vision, the people perish. Men are ending their own lives. Men are over-medicated. Men are in distress because they're living without a vision and they're not giving themselves permission to step into the vision of what's possible for you. In order to say yes to that vision, you have to create space for it and then make it happen. Grab your balls and go. So that's my transmission from here. Oh, and I see a nice little green-headed duck. He's gonna come by your vision right there. I love duck. A duck goes by and looks calm on the top, but his little feet are paddling like hell underwater. Sending you big love from the beautiful view here at the across from Elephant Mountain on Kootenay Lake. I'm gonna end this live. Bye for now.